anymore, because we have all these at affordable prices just for you. We also sell at wholesale and retail prices. Visit us today at the old Westward building, right opposite the old Ministry of Education on Broad Street, for the latest brands of jeans you will always admire. For more information, call us on 0887 289 372 or 0777 289 372. It's Some Business Incorporated, right opposite the old Ministry of Education on Broad Street, for the best quality in jeans wear.
What? I tell every day funny for car to go to the bank. Then the traffic said that easy. By the time you reach the last, I'll make you scared. Hey man, I was shopping for my children for the Christmas season.
You are here too. What can carry you to the bank again? You can get tired? Every day, bang, bang, bang. How much in your account set before you wasting transportation?
I know, that just small deal. I want to go shopping for my children for the season.
But you need to go to the bank. You can pay right from your phone.
You, Lehana?
Well, I thought the last time I downloaded the EcoBank mobile app for you.
Yes, I still got it.
So you can use it. Go on the app and go to pay merchant. You can scan and pay for your goods. You can also buy LEC credit. You can pay your water bill. You can buy scratch card all right from your telephone.
I forgot, I remember I used it to shop it at the supermarket before.
So you can use it again. It's also available at restaurants, boutiques, hotels, and even provision shops all over Liberia. Just make use of the EcoBank mobile app this Christmas season and avoid that stress of standing in a queue.
EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank.
The management and staff of Secure Risk Insurance Company, solely Liberian owned, extend best wishes and season greetings during this Christmas to His Excellency President Joseph Yuma Boakai, President of the Republic of Liberia, Vice President and Mrs. Jeremiah Kwanko, the Senate Pro Tem and members of the Senate, the Speaker and members of the House of Representatives, the government and people of Liberia, a blessed Merry Christmas, a happy and prosperous New Year. We at Secure Risk wish for you and yours many blessings from God Almighty as we celebrate this festive season. Merry Christmas, happy and prosperous New Year. From the management and staff of Secure Risk Insurance Company, solely Liberian owned.
Welcome back. This is the OK Conversation on OKFM 99.5. Let us take our fact check segment now.
Good day and welcome to the fact check segment. This segment debunks disinformation and provides the verified facts of statements made online and on the radio. Today, we will be fact-checking claims made in the last couple of days. Following Tuesday's protest in Monrovia, many images emerged online portraying that there were images from the protest scenes up Capitol Hill. One of the blogs sharing the images is Sapa TV Liberia, who shared images of people with bloodstains, claiming that they were from the Tuesday's protest action up Capitol Hill. A reverse image search conducted on some of the photos shows that they were taken from different incidents that occurred long ago in different places. One particular photo of a man who's shot with bloodstains and head with several wounds was taken from a January 2020 violence that erupted among supporters of political parties in Sierra Leone. Another photo posted by Sapa TV Liberia was a photo from the June 7, 2019 protest in Monrovia. In the photo, more than one person can be seen wearing a t-shirt with the photo of Mosurado District 10 Representative Yeke Koluba with the inscription, Honorable Yekewa Koluba says, Save the State June 7. The other image of a man in a yellow jacket and a black trouser showing wound on his leg was taken from a video that was recorded at the Tuesday's protest scene of Capitol Hill. Based on these facts, we conclude that some of the images shared online following the Tuesday December 17 protest are not images taken during the protest of Capitol Hill. Some were taken from Sierra Leone during a 2020 violent clash, while others were taken from the June 7, 2019 protest in Monrovia. Still with the Tuesday's protest, Brian Brown, the media supervisor in the office of embattled House Speaker Fonati Kofa, posted an image of a woman being carried by an officer of the Liberia National Police claiming that she has been shot and killed in the protest of Capitol Hill. The post generated over 200 comments, with many commenters describing Brian's post as misleading. To verify the image, we review a Facebook live recording done by OKFM at the protest scene, which show footages of a lady struggling to make her way from the back of the Capitol building down to the entrance of the police headquarters through the tear gas. She then collapsed to the floor. In the video, an officer of the LMP can be seen carrying the elderly woman in both hands from the tear gas scene. It was from this video that the image Brian shared in a Facebook post was captured. Based on this fact, we conclude that the image shared by Brian Brown in the Facebook post claiming that a harmless citizen was shot and killed in Tuesday's protest is misleading. The image Brian shared to Facebook was taken from a video of an elderly woman who was struggling to walk through the tear gas but collapsed and was being aided by an officer of the Liberia National Police. The LMP held a press conference after the protest action and did not report any death from the Tuesday's protest. On December 16, former Senator Milton Tiaje of Sano County claimed on OKFM that during the CDC administration, gasoline prices in Liberia were never reduced. We have verified this claim to be misleading. A review of gasoline price records from 2018 to 2023 on the official Facebook page of the Liberia Petroleum Refining Company reveals that there were some reductions during this period. When the CDC government took power in 2018, gasoline prices rose from US 3.37 to US 5, but there were notable decreases, including a drop from US 3.70 to US 3.30 in early 2019, and further reductions made to US 3.21 by the end of that year. By March 2022, prices rose to a peak of 5.66 but were reduced to 5.00 in April of that same year and further reduced to US 4.88 by February 2023. This shows that while prices increased on the overall during former president's year tenure, there were some reductions at various points. Therefore, Mr. Tiage's claim that no reductions occurred during the CDC regime is misleading. Ministry of Commerce and LPRC shows fluctuations in gasoline prices throughout the CDC administration. Well, this is all we have time for on the Fact Check segment. The segment is part of an MOU between Local Voices Liberia and OKFM, Pram FM, and Cool FM. This partnership seeks to counter disinformation to help the public make informed decisions. This MOU is funded by Internews through the Liberia Media Empowerment Project. The funder or partner had no say in the editorial decision leading to the production of this program. If you want us to fact check a claim for you, please send us a text to WhatsApp on 0777 556296 and we will check for you. Also follow us on Facebook at Local Voices Liberia, Twitter at LVL Factcheck, and go to our website at www.localvoicesliberia.com. I am Siawe Miapo. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.
Welcome back. This is the OK Conversation on OKFM 99.5. An interesting time ahead of us here. Let's start from here. Shortly, Massa will come in. Let's start with a press statement issued on today by the National Health Workers Union of Liberia, NAWU, which is an affiliate of the Liberia Labor Congress. So in this case, all the health workers, their union has issued a statement. Fellow healthcare workers, our partners in health, members of the full vested, ladies and gentlemen, the National Health Workers Union of Liberia wishes to address recent developments regarding the advocacy for better working conditions and wages for healthcare providers. For a decade now, NAWU has consistently engaged the Liberian government, past and present, advocating for improved working conditions, salary increments, reclassification, employment of volunteer workers, and other essential welfare issues. Since the inauguration of the new government under President Joseph Boakai, NAWU has taken proactive steps to ensure that our voices are clearly heard. It has come to our attention that some of our members have been approached to participate in strike actions based on misinformation regarding recent discussions and agreements between NAWU and the government of Liberia. We wish to clarify the outcomes of our latest meeting with the GOL. Accommodation of rural workers. The GOL, through the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning and the Ministry of Health, has agreed to commence constructing dwelling places for health workers in rural areas starting in 2025. This initiative will begin with 3 counties to be identified by the MOH based on critical analysis. Transportation for urban workers. The MOH has initiated discussions with development partners to provide support in addressing transportation challenges for urban-based health workers. Absorption of volunteers. The GOL has allocated funds to absorb volunteer health workers into the workforce. Now we will actively participate in this process to ensure transparency and fairness. Reclassification, salary disparity increment. Reclassification. The Civil Service Agency clarified that reclassification applies when an employee's initial role becomes redundant, leading to a new assignment. For health workers who have upgraded their qualifications, the CSA proposes aligning their salaries with counterparts in similar roles through incremental adjustments rather than formal reclassification. Salary adjustment. The GOL through the MFDP has announced the implementation of top-ups ranging from $25 to $225 to align affected individual salaries with those of colleagues possessing similar qualifications. Salary increment plan. Annual reviews of the pay envelope will be conducted each year until 2029 to progressively address salary increments. Specialized doctors assuming administrative roles. Reclassification by CSA. Doctors transitioning from clinical roles with specialized salaries to administrative roles. So this whole release, so let's go down. It says, engaging in strike action while actively negotiating is counterproductive. NAWU and GOL. Okay. So another group, as always the case, says no. Those who are opting to protest, no. They are still negotiating. But they are not definitive with any of the things that they've said. And how is it that these discussions are ongoing and their colleagues who are from these different organizations that we hosted yesterday have not been part of it or are not aware? Or they just started having those discussions on yesterday or today. You know, sometimes the way groups work, it can be very interesting. But let's move on. However they will settle that matter, they should. So Massa will join us now to give us updates from the judiciary in the case involving former top-level government officials. Massa will join us shortly on that. But things have been happening up Capitol Hill. That is where we will concentrate again. right after we shall have spoken with Massa. This is the OK Conversation on OK FM 99.5. So, an incident occurred up Capitol Hill yesterday. Yeah, so we'll tie all of those in. But Massa is right here to give us some updates from the judiciary before we come to the Capitol Hill matter. A whole lot to talk about. You can readjust the microphone to there. Massa, welcome.
Thank you, Julius. Good afternoon, everybody.
Okay, in the economic sabotage, corruption, blah, 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 case involving former Minister Twe and others, what do we need to know?
Well, we all know that
Yeah, please come closer and speak a little louder.
You're aware that this case went up the Justice in Chamber. There was a writ of certiorari filed by the Ministry of Justice, the government lawyers, in this case when they had a hearing, when they questioned the bonds of some of the defendants, including former Finance Minister Samuel Twe. They argued that his bond was not legitimate, it has some faults, and so that the judge should deny it, Judge Blamo Desi, and then the appropriate bond be filed. When they had that hearing, the judge denied the motion, and then the state or the government lawyer went upstairs. They went to Justice Yemi Bese to review the judge, ruling on the matter. And so when you had a conference with the parties, he declined issuing it. And today there was a mandate sent out 2 years yesterday. I said today, which is Wednesday, there would have been either arraignment or reading of the mandate. So today at 2:30, even there was a commotion even before the trial started between the judge and the Solicitor General, Councilor Augustine Fire, about the time, because the judge were like, some of them were naked in the bar, because when you don't have your lawyer garment on, they can say you're naked. So he was like, but it's not time. We still have time. In fact, who assigned this case? Who made the assignment? Even part of the party, they had an argument, and Judge Blamo was like, I don't depend on this case to survive all this thing. They had all this altercation. And afterward, they read the mandate from the Justice in Chamber, Justice Bese, that the case should continue. And it was only the mandate that was heard. But I made some inquiry. The court term is almost ending. So it's possible that they might not even hear this case, this court term.
So after the reading, nothing else happened?
Nothing else. So the next thing that could happen, to make assignment, make arraignment of the defendant, where they will read their indictment to them, ask them whether they are guilty or not. So that assignment has not been made. I don't know when it will be made, but the court term is already, about November court term is already ending. And so...
when is the next term?
The next term will be February.
Wow.
Yeah, February term. So we're yet...
we could be in it for a very long haul.
Yes. The issue here is that they've already accused, from my analysis, they've already accused Judge Desi of being biased. You look at it that probably they might not want him to preside over that case. Because if you think that somebody is taking side and the person is the same person presiding over the case, you might try to bring some delays that take a while to have another person presiding for you to hear your case. That's my analysis about the whole thing.
So when the next term of court comes, the judge can change?
It depends, yeah. Sometimes they have the resident judges. At every court term, the chief justice can assign judges at different courts. It's possible that the person could stay. It's possible he could go elsewhere. But there are some people that don't just, change. at the courts.
After the protest yesterday, people were arrested and taken to jail. We were told the likes of Kalasco and others. Is there any update on them? They're still in jail or what?
Just from the courts, up to the time I left, they are still in jail. I went purposely to see if they could file the necessary bond to bring them to court, but as we speak, they are still behind bars at the Monrovia Central Prison.
How does it work in these instances?
Well, yes, the issue here with Julius, the police was swift yesterday, or fast, in charging more than 10, in investigating and charging more than 10 persons and sending them to court in less than 24 hours, which was good. And then most of the time, or by the magisterial court rules, every criminal cases are heard from 8 to 12. Anytime below, a civil matter can go there. So obviously, if someone is accused of committing a crime and they take you to court after 12 May Day, the judge can tell you, or whosoever can tell you, say, okay, we are not hearing criminal cases now. You can go to jail for that. Because if they're supposed to file the necessary bonds for you to be temporarily released, it might not be possible then, because they can rely on that rule or the law and tell you, say, we are only hearing civil matters. So look at the time Kalasco and others were taken to the magisterial court yesterday. After 3, almost 4 o'clock, I even left from there, and then they brought them. And I was just in communication when they brought them. But I got the rates,
and they are charged with what?
There are a lot of charges leveled against them. They charged them with riot, failure to disburse, and not theft of property, invading government functions, theft of property, and many more. These are the charges leveled against them. But all of those charges, Julius, they are all bailable. They are all bailable offenses that they were charged with. So I got a rate for, the police had a conference yesterday. They even stated that they arrested 70 persons. They made 70 arrests in the course of that time of the protest. So those that were investigated, charged, and sent to court. This is the rates I have here. So just want to be specific with the charges. They have riots, failure to disburse, obstructing highways and other passages, physical obstruction of government's function, aggravated assault, criminal mischief, theft of property, and disorderly conduct. Those are the charges, and they are accusing, or they are alleging that Kalasco and others, their actions caused, assault on one of the LNP officers. He was even disarmed, allegedly, in the process. A personal weapon that was on him, I'm speaking from the rate that was issued. A personal weapon that was assigned to me, they took it, according to the rate I have in my possession from the Ministry of Justice. And then of a government vehicle value of $40,000 was also vandalized.
Okay.
Yes.
That is according to them. So as they are in prison, if there is no bonfire, they will continue being in prison?
They will be there. A bond has to be filed. They will be there. And then the Supreme Court was supposed to have some hearings today in different cases. But because of the incident at the Capitol, that was postponed also.
Okay. Thanks so kindly, Massa, for giving us all of those updates from the judiciary, the end of the judiciary. Folks, we're about to enter into today's discussion. If there's a need for Massa to come back, we will ask her to. She's still around. But we will speak with Nyanti. But before we speak with Nyanti, I want to read something very important. I read it here before, I think, or I alluded to it here before. There's a book titled The Case for Christ, Jesus Christ, written by Lee Strobel. Lee Strobel says The Case for Christ, a journalist's personal investigation of the evidence for Jesus. Lee Strobel was an agnostic. Agnostics are people who stay in the middle. No God, there is God. They just stand there. They don't believe that there is God, and they really cannot say there is no God. So they just stand in the middle. He's written a lot of books. I've read two of this one in my hand. I've read it maybe 2 or 3 times. I've also read The Case for Faith from him. He has also written Inside the Mind of Unchurched Harry and Mary, What Jesus Will Say. Those are all books that he has written. In the introduction of The Case for Christ, I want to read something. Bear with me, be patient. It will set the basis for the discussion that lies ahead. In the parlance of prosecutors, and the title of the introduction is Reopening the Investigation of a Lifetime. In the parlance of prosecutors, the attempted murder case against James Dixon was a dead bang winner, open and shut. Even a cursory examination of the evidence was enough to establish that Dixon shot police sergeant Richard Scalone in the abdomen during a scuffle on Chicago's South Side. Piece by piece, atom by atom, witness by witness, the evidence tightened a noose around Dixon's neck. There were fingerprints and a weapon, eyewitnesses and a motive, a wounded cop and a defendant with a history of violence. Now the criminal justice system was poised to trip the trapdoor that would leave Dixon dangling by the weight of his own guilt. The facts were simple. Sergeant Scalone had rushed to West 108th Place. This is a very true story, right? After a neighbor called police to report a man with a gun. Scalone, who is a police officer, arrived to find Dixon, who is the violent guy, noisily arguing with his girlfriend through the front door of her house. Her father emerged when he saw Scalone, figuring it was safe to come outside. Suddenly, a fight broke out between Dixon and the father. The sergeant quickly intervened in an attempt to break it up. A shot rang out. Scalone staggered away, wounded in his midsection. Just then, 2 other squad cars arrived, screeching to a halt, and officers ran over to restrain Dixon. A .22 caliber gun belonging to Dixon, covered with his fingerprints and with 1 bullet having been fired, was found nearby, where he had apparently flung it after the shooting. The father had been unarmed. Scalone's revolver remained in his holster. Powder burns on Scalone's skin showed that he had been shot at extremely close range. Fortunately, his wound wasn't life-threatening, although it was serious enough to earn him a medal for bravery, proudly pinned on his chest by the police superintendent himself. As for Dixon, when police ran his rap sheet, they found he had previously been convicted of shooting someone else. Apparently, he had a propensity for violence. And I sat there almost a year later taking notes in a nearby deserted Chicago courtroom while Dixon publicly admitted that yes, he was guilty of shooting the 15-year police veteran. On top of all the other evidence, the confession clinched it. Follow the story? Criminal Court George Frank Machala ordered Dixon imprisoned, then rapped his gavel to signal that the case was closed. Justice had been served. I slipped my notebook into the inside pocket of my sports coat and ambled downstairs toward the press room. At the most, I figured my editor would give me 3 paragraphs to tell the story in the next day's Chicago Tribune. Certainly, that's all it deserved. This wasn't much of a tale. Or so I thought. The whisper of an informant. I answered the phone in the press room and recognized the voice right away. It was an informant I had cultivated during the year I had been covering the criminal courts building. I could tell he had something hot for me because the bigger the tape, the faster and softer he would talk. And he was whispering a mile a minute. Lee, do you know that Dixon case? He asked. Yeah, sure, I replied. Covered it 2 days ago. Pretty routine. Don't be so sure. The word is that a few weeks before the shooting, Sergeant Scanlon was at a party showing off his pen gun. His what? A pen gun. It's a .22 caliber pistol that's made to look like a fountain pen. They're illegal for anyone to carry, including cops. When I told him I didn't see the relevance of this, his voice got even more animated. Here's the thing. Dixon didn't shoot Scanlon. Scanlon was wounded when his own pen gun accidentally went off in his shirt pocket. He framed Dixon so he wouldn't get in trouble for carrying an unauthorized weapon. Don't you see? Dixon is innocent. Impossible! I exclaimed. Check out the evidence yourself, Kimmy's replied. See where it really points. I hung up the phone and dashed up the stairs to the prosecutor's office, pausing briefly to catch my breath before strolling inside. You know the Dixon case? I asked casually, not wanting to tip my hand too early. If you don't mind, I'd like to go over the details once more. Caller, drained from his face. I can't talk about it. He's hammered. No comment. It turned out that my informant had already passed along his suspicion to the prosecutor's office. Behind the scenes, a grand jury was being convened to read consider the evidence. Amazingly, unexpectedly, the once airtight case against James Dixon was being reopened. There were powder burns concentrated inside, but not above the left pocket of Scanlon's shirt. The bullet rip where the bullet had exited after going through some flesh. Dixon's rap concealed a key defense witness, and that a prosecution witness had lied. So much for Dixon's record of violent tendencies. We're moving to the end. An innocent man is freed. Finally, I put the crucial question to Dixon. If you were innocent, why in the world did you plead guilty? Dixon sighed. It was a plea bargain, he said, referencing to the practice in which prosecutors recommend a reduced sentence if a defendant pleads guilty and thus saves everybody the time and expense of a trial. They said if I pleaded guilty, they would sentence me to 1 year in prison. I already spent 362 days in jail waiting for my trial. All I had to do was I did it, and I'll go home in a few days. But if I insisted on a trial and the jury found me guilty, well, they would throw the book at me. They would give me 20 years for shooting a cop. It wasn't worth the gamble. I wanted to go home. And so I said, you admitted doing something you didn't do? Dixon nodded. That's right. In the end, Dixon was exonerated, and he later won a lawsuit against the police department. Scalone was stripped of his medal, was indicted by a grand jury, pleaded guilty to official misconduct, and was fired from the department. As for me, my stories were splashed across the front page. Much more important, I had learned some big lessons as a young reporter. One of the most obvious lessons was that evidence can be aligned to point in more than one direction. For example, there had easily been enough proof to convict Dixon of shooting the surgeon. But the key questions were these. Had the collection of evidence really been thorough? And which explanation best fit the totality of the facts? Once the pen gun theory was offered, it became clear that this scenario accounted for the full body of evidence in the most optimal way. And there was another lesson. One reason the evidence originally looked so convincing to me was because it fit my preconceptions at the time. To me, Dixon was an obvious troublemaker, a failure, the unemployed product of a broken family. The cops were the good guys, prosecutors didn't make mistakes. Looking through those lenses, all the original evidence seemed to fall neatly into place. Where there had been inconsistencies or gaps, I naively glossed over them. When police told me the case was airtight, I took them at their word and didn't delve much further. But when I changed those lenses, trading my biases for an attempt at objectivity, I saw the case in a whole new light. Finally, I allowed the evidence to lead me to the truth, regardless of whether it fit my original presuppositions. That was more than 20 years ago. My biggest lessons were yet to come. The reasons I've recounted this unusual case is because, in a way, my spiritual journey had been like my experience with James Dixon. For much of my life, I was a skeptic. In fact, I considered myself an atheist. To me, there was far too much evidence that God was merely a product, blah, blah, blah. So you listen to that case, how it turned out, how it wriggled around and came back to something else. Let us now speak with Nyanti Togba on the issues that obtained up Capitol Hill. This is the OK Conversation on OKFM. Keep that case in mind. I will tell you why I read it. Let's get Nyanti very quickly. I hope we have Nyanti in a better position. Nyanti, welcome.
Well, thank you, Julius. Thank you.
I know today has been quite a busy day for you. Let's start from this morning. What has been happening?
Well, as it stands, we've been following the happening of Capitol Hill this morning. Eventually, I was on my way to the Capitol when I received a call. Well, on my way to the station when I received a call that the Capitol was on fire this morning. So when I went there and I met the Capitol building, the rooftop, I could see that heavy fire at the rooftop of the building. That was somewhere around the John Chamber. But then I didn't make my way there. But then at that time, we only saw a lone fire service truck that came and trying to quench the fire. But then the force from the fire truck was not just enough to put that entire fire off until we saw the arrival of two additional fire trucks, that water truck, from the Liberia Water and Sewer Corporation. And then also we saw a fire truck from the Liberia Petroleum Refining Company. And then some private institution water trucks also came in to give the system. But then we saw an excessive force by the water truck that came from the Liberia Water and Sewer Corporation that was pouring in water into the entire building to the rooftop, and then eventually they were able to put the fire under control.
Were you there from the beginning of the fire incident, or it is as a result of the fire incident that you went there?
Yeah, it was the result of the fire incident. We went there, but now a single truck was there. At that time when we went there, we only met the police there, but they were trying to disallow people from entering the building, and I have to identify myself. But at that time we were there, not a single fire truck was there. But as soon as I got there, stay about approximately 5 to 10 minutes, we saw the arrival of a single fire truck that came from the level of the Lagro Waters, the Lagro Fire Service.
Do we know if any arrests were made this morning?
What the first thing I interacted with the security personnel, the security director of the Liberian Senate, Darlington, he said that he was on the ground along with some of the security when the police came in, started beating on them. In fact, he was being handled by the police. And
then the police beat the Capitol Hill security?
Yeah, sure, Julius. So in fact, he said the guys and came over and said fools and said if anybody was there, they should not allow anybody out of the Capitol. So he was there supervising. In fact, he said he has started placing call to the Senate director of the Senate chairperson of security, Steve Zago, and other folks to come in to quench to alert them about the fire situation. But when the police came, in fact, they ran directly to him. They asked him because he was in the color clothes, so they asked him to sit on the ground. At the time that he just started introducing himself, he said he didn't listen, and one of the police officers post slap in his face. So he started showing the bar on his face as well. But then they took every one of them to the headquarters of the Liberian National Police until later they received a call from the Senator Momo Sarah informing him about the situation. That's how they properly introduced themselves, and then every one of them were released. But then
there are usually police officers around that capital. Do they sleep there? Do they man that property?
The police officers are only seen during the course of the day in and there at the Capitol building security. So the House of Representatives have their own security, that is the Capitol police security as well, but that is specifically for the House, and then the Senate get their own security service as well, providing security services at the level of the Liberian Senate. So two separate security groups are currently on the grounds of the legislature, providing individual service for the both houses.
Did any of these people report strange movements earlier this morning into the facility?
Well, they didn't say anything of such. In fact, the director there that we met there, he said he was shocked. In fact, he started seeing the fire from the top of the building, but then he started calling. He asked some members of his men as to whether there were strange movement, and he said that his men informed him that there was no strange movement. They didn't see anybody. In fact, there was nobody that was being seen in the building at that early morning hour, and we started to ask him what was the cause of the fire. He said he doesn't know what led to the cause of the fire. But in terms of the arrest, earlier when we spoke with the Minister of Justice, he told us that there were no arrests being made, but then the Police Inspector General at Baker press briefing, giving an update about the situation, said there were folks who were being arrested, including security personnel and some at the legislature were also arrested, but then they properly introduced themselves. But he also made note that there was some individual who perhaps who were not properly who didn't properly introduce themselves. They were also they are currently in police custody. But then there was this speculation as to whether these persons who are currently in police custody, whether they were arrested from the office of Frank Safoko. He didn't say anything of such, but he just said that these were people who they met there and took at the headquarters of the Liberian National Police.
Okay. What is the situation with Representative Frank Safoko? What did he say, and when did he say? I'm hearing that he has turned himself over to police or what?
Well, so Julius, that statement. At a certain time of this year, it was in July of this year, there was this appearance of the Liberian Petroleum Refining Company. There was a claim made by Representative Marvin Cole with regards to a loan situation at the level of the LPRC. So, Representative Foco, I mean, there was this issue that the way the plenary of the House of Representatives handled the situation at that time, that led to a serious disagreement among lawmakers, including Representative Francis Foco. So he left the session, moving us there. He was being engaged
I hear at that time he was angry with Speaker Fonatikova.
Exactly. So he was angry because the way they wanted the matter to be thoroughly investigated, because they are summoned the Liberia Petroleum Refining Company to come and respond to these claims, and then they felt that the way the hearing went was that they didn't go down well with him, so he left the chamber and he was being interviewed by journalists. That's how he made his statement, but it was in July of this year when he made his statement. But then this statement is also tying back with what has happened. So many people have been pointing accusing fingers at him as to with regards to the statement he made, but that statement was somewhere in July of this year. But he's been invited by the Liberia National Police. Though the police went at his home, but he was not there. They surrounded the entire area, but he was not there. But he himself reported himself. He reported himself at the headquarters of the Liberia National Police, and then the battle speaker, Fonatikova, and some members of the bloc also went there at the headquarters of the Liberia National Police, where they are, as Representative Francis Foco is being called in for questioning as well too. And then Julius will also met with the members of the legislature, including the vice president and the president later on came at the grounds of the Capitol, and then we spoke with the battle speaker Fonatikova with regards to a Facebook post that he made. And the first question that was posed to him, he said that he doesn't manage the Facebook page, but he did a post. He also confirmed that he did his social media post, but then later on it was deleted, and he said he was giving a scenario of a situation where men and women were fighting for their rights. But that situation, the situation at the Capitol building this morning, it was not related to the post that he made yesterday, though he deleted it, but there were continual questions posed to him as to why did he delete the post. He didn't give a specific answer with regards to that. But then coupled of that, there are also social media posts that are coming from the lens of the managing director of the Liberia Water and Sewer Corporation, where he also did a social media post and said, watershed.
There'll be a watershed news tomorrow.
So people are also tying in this as well.
And then they say he was around there this morning, and also I don't know, LWSC truck allegedly.
And in fact, he even did a post commending the Liberia Water and Sewer Corporation for helping to put the fire up. But other people, there have been a whole lot of concern at the grounds of the Capitol that in as much that people are asking that the government involve Francis Foco or with this kind of statement, but then the managing director of the LWSC should also be invited to clarify his statement with regards to what he meant as per this watershed post that he did on social media. So these are just some of the concerns that are pouring in from the public so far with regards to the fire situation. But the president, before leaving, mandated the Minister of Justice to investigate this.
I think we have that voice. I have it here. I will play it.
Investigate the entire fire incident. So these are just some of the unfolding so far at the level of the Capitol since morning.
Thanks so kindly, Nyanti. We appreciate.
Thank you.
Okay. So I believe without explaining it, you are understanding why I read that story about Lee Strobel, his budding journalism days, even before he wrote this book. Someone who did not believe the existence of God, and now is a Christian. How he investigated and found out that Christ actually came and existed, and all. It's a book that I've read 2 to 3 times, and I'm telling you, read anything from Lee Strobel. It is a book that is not put downable. It is something you not want to put down when you start to read. You see how old it is. I've been having it for years. The Case for Christ. I have followed politics. I follow international, local politics. I've read espionage. I've followed a whole lot of things that when certain major things happen in countries, you will notice Yeah, you will never hear concluding, oh, this person did it. No, this person did not do it. Things have happened to me personally and all of that. So I'll always say, let the authorities do their jobs. Whoever can be invited to answer questions where the evidence will lead, let the authorities do their job. I believe far too often we've affected our own country, we've affected our own investigative systems by our political leanings or the biases that we have as individuals. And it happened too much in the war. People were killed here that did not do anything wrong. And that's why sometimes people say mob justice is not a good thing. People are accused falsely, oh, and maybe the person who just starts to run, they did not do anything and they're killed. These are the reasons some of us take our time to follow through with these kinds of things. You listen to a clear report from Yanti. The securities on ground have not reported seeing entry into or entry out of the building. There were people there. They, as security people, were also there. That is one thing. There have been fire incidents in this country that we really do not know what the report says. I know, for example, the fire incident with Unity Party's chairman, Luther Tappe. I think they said it was electrical. When Speaker Kofa's home was gutted, there were allegations against the government by people in the opposition. And we insisted and said, no, you cannot accuse the government or people in government because this is an opposition person. Let the facts lead where they may. Let the investigators do their job. Yeah, you can opine, you can say stuff as a citizen, but you cannot conclude in these kinds of situations that somebody did or somebody did not do, whether because they said what or they wrote what or whatsoever. Here, it is very important for the authorities to investigate. They have the investigative mechanisms, the investigative tools to unearth such matter. I think I have somewhere what the president said something. I want us to play it and make some analysis on that, joining into what we're saying. This is the OK conversation on OK FM 99.5. Let's listen to the president. Okay. Of us, we have it.
There's a lot of wanton destruction that is going on in this country. Beginning with this, we're not going to tolerate this in this country. We have own country, people are trying to help us, and other people are bent on destroying this country. You have problem, we have the rule of law, we have every way in this place to be able to listen to you, but we're not going to accept this. We're asking the Minister of Justice, all of the security apparatus, including our friends, to investigate this letter. People who are culprit, who will deal with them, and will set the tune for all other people who, when they get angry, they burn down the police, they destroy this. We're not going to allow this. So we just want to say to control the members of the first family in this government. And we're in sympathy with them, but the destruction we have to stop. And we're not going to allow this to happen in this country. But people who have problems, we have to way to remedy all the issues in this country. So that's all I have to tell you. I'm happy that you are here. You will look at yourself. But we're not going to settle for this. This is not a place for hooligans. This is a place for responsible people who are here to serve the Liberian people. This country is poor, and I don't care what they do or build this country for the interest of future generations. Thank you. Thank you very much.
An irate, IRATE, very angry president. I can understand the anger. You're the president of the country. You see a major infrastructure having gone down in flames and all of that. But the comments by the president are also troubling. It reminds me when we beat on former president, we are here, when he said, the people want to do boyfriend and girlfriend thing. That time you talk about CCTV. Maybe a CCTV would have helped if there was CCTV on Capitol Hill, all around that building, everywhere. It would have helped in this matter to know what happened. But I remember we all critiqued him concerning that boyfriend girlfriend statement. The president's statement is like, okay, angry people burned the Capitol. So the justice minister, they should investigate and bring those people to justice. I can understand the anger, but it is troubling because the investigation could find something else. Like what I was saying, it is conclusive. He didn't leave room for it being another possibility. Was it last week or week before last when we heard that fire was in one of the lawmakers' office of Capitol Hill? And it has been reported by lots of people that I think it started from some kind of plug or whatsoever, panel box whatsoever in that office. But it is conclusive. So sometimes that's how our investigations can just end. We can see the report. Because if the investigation finds something that is contrary to what the president has already said, who is going to put that kind of report out? So we just keep being here and be asking, where is the fire investigation report? Where is the report? Where is the report? And the report will not come out because it may discover something else. So sometimes leaders take it easy. They use ifs. They will mandate the requisite authorities to do what they can do to investigate. Because there could be three possibilities. It could be an incident that we will say force majeure, somewhat natural, or that is not induced by a human being creating problem. It is possible. It is possible an angry human being could do it. It is possible someone who is not angry but wants to frame someone who is angry could also do it. A whole lot of things can happen in politics. This is why usually the security people will be given a free hand to investigate, keep their ears to the ground. They have their own ways of investigating. They have their own processes. And that's why I read that story earlier. Someone could say, someone could write, blah, 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 all kinds of things. And it could be an incident not caused by human beings. It could be an incident caused by a human being who is angry. Or a human being who is not angry. These are troubling times. And it is important for the security people to investigate such matters. There have been a whole lot of fire incidents around. Some of the reports we've never seen, they've not come out. We've not been able to know what actually happened. And I think the fire people, the investigators have the sophistication to know the kinds of fire, what started it. I think they have that kind of wherewithal, the ability to determine what started a fire. They know what to do. So sometimes leaders cannot be the first to make conclusive statements, as the evidence could lead elsewhere. I've seen a whole lot of top-level people accusing others, being very conclusive. This person did it, or this other person did it, and all of it. It's not wrong for them to invite anybody who made a statement or who said or who wrote something. You call them people of interest. They will call you. They will know the kinds of questions to. I think the ways that they may do it, like what Nyanti said, they allegedly did to the security people at the Capitol. They are also people of interest. They were asking because they are the first group of people that they will ask. What did they see? Where were they? At what time? And blah, blah, blah. When the fire actually started? When did you see this? Blah, blah. They will ask them all kinds of questions. They will. They should. It is not wrong. If a lawmaker says something in July, it is not wrong for police to invite him. And you see, that's why I always advise people, be careful what you say. At any point in time, out of anger or whatsoever, be careful what you say to anybody or about a situation, especially that is threatening. I know too much to know that you could say something, and because it is public that you said it, someone may already, like you threatening to do something to someone, you know who is against that person already. So, but this man already publicly said this, and they can do that action so that it reflects on you. And you could actually say something too and implement it. Go on your word. You could write something and implement, or others could see it and implement. You could be angry, and to further frame you, people do stuff. You could also be angry and do stuff as a result of the anger. The situation could be as a result of force majeure. So all of these possibilities exist. And that's why we cannot conclude. Again, the authorities have to. It was interesting hearing the president talk about the rule of law. It was really interesting hearing that, but that's for another day. It was quite an interesting piece. I really found it interesting. Now, so let us go to the U.S. Embassy near Monrovia. Okay. Let's go to what the U.S. Embassy has said about the protest on yesterday. This is 4 hours ago. The U.S. Embassy condemns yesterday's violence on Capitol Hill. Citizens have a right to express their views peacefully, and violence is never the answer. When the citizens express their views peacefully, violence should not be the answer. It is never the answer. The answer to their expression of their views peacefully is not violence. Political differences should be resolved through an open political process. We call on all parties to remain calm and resolve the impasse on Capitol Hill so that the legislature can return to work on behalf of all Liberians. It's like the embassy thinks the legislature is not working. But anyway, get it doing. And the other side doing public hearings and all that stuff. But they say we call all parties to remain calm and resolve the impasse on Capitol Hill so that the legislature can return to work. So that they can return to work on behalf of all Liberians. Because if the other group working and they say they are working, But they say return to work on behalf of all Liberians. Okay. It is a statement from the U.S. Embassy near Monrovia. I'm just seeing something from Executive Mansion. Let's go there quickly. President Boakai nominates additional members of government. And they are affecting the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Liberal Authority, and local government, Monserrato, Maggie, Sanders. So those nominated at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Liva Dima, Ambassador Designate to the Kingdom of Belgium. And this man already went through confirmation hearing. I think I should call Nyanti. Liva Dima, has he going through? They're just announcing his nomination by the president. Let me call Nyanti. I know. Mr. Mohamed Dukle, Ambassador Designate to the United Arab Emirates. Mr. Fokba Gizi Senior, Ambassador Designate to the Republic of Guinea. Land Authority. Samuel F. Pakio, Chairman, Local Government, Monserrato. Okay, let's do the township people. Okay, thanks, Nyanti. Nyanti says he didn't go through confirmation here. But was he at the Senate? Because I know I heard his name was said yesterday or day before from you. Okay, so yeah, so Liva, former, he was superintendent of Bassa, I believe, during the days of former President Sir Liva Dima. Yeah, that's where I knew him from. I think so, yeah. So he's going to Belgium if he's confirmed and then commissioned by the president. Mohamed Dukle goes to Belgium. No, to United Arab Emirates, and Fokpa Gizi goes to Guinea. Yeah, former superintendent of Bassa. Good. Okay. So again, this is our country. We all have to try to keep it peaceful. When you see these diplomatic languages, they are not as strong as what we used to from McCarthy. McCarthy used to be direct. When he was here, the statements from the embassy used to be direct, strong, purposeful. He was a little, as I would say, a radical diplomat. He was quite radical. His style of diplomacy was a radical type, and he kept his feet on the former government's neck very well. This new ambassador, his style is more diplomatic, is more nuanced. The language is nuanced, but sometimes it can turn out to be dangerous later on. You don't know what reports they are making. So whatever the case is, this one came out a little stronger than before. Citizens have the right to peacefully express their view, and the answer cannot be violence to the expression of their views. And the lawmakers will have to find political issues. You have political ways to resolve, and they should return to work for all Liberians. Okay. 777-700-995, 555-995-995. He that has an ear to hear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the churches. Welcome. Let's hear you.
Yes. Julius, thank you. My name is Danisha Martin, and I'm a little bit energized in the last week. But quickly, I know I don't have to go through a time. I think I agree with you that the president's statement on the fire incident is an inference that it could be attributed to the minority bloc or some angry people who may have stepped up the building. And I mean, it's quite unfortunate. And I know sometimes when people are angry, they say a lot of things that sometimes they can, I mean, it's hard to take it back. But one of the biggest fire incidents that has happened in this country is which you didn't talk about, is the executive mansion.
Oh, yeah.
The July 26th celebration.
Yes, that was was it 2006?
2006.
Okay,
you know?
yeah.
And so there is a possibility that, in fact, before this major fire incident at the Capitol building, there was another one in the, I think, the archive section, and I'm sure it was during the reign of Buffer Chimo as speaker. So the Capitol building has had one or two, scenarios of fire incidents. So for the president to, I know, I mean, we all, sometimes we get carried away by the scenario of things or the exuberance of things, but I think the president kind of doubled down whatever investigation that would take place to identify what happened to the building. It's unfortunate that the building, I mean, I can't say it's awesome. I can't say,
Yeah, now we can't say anything until.
We can't say anything until the internet comes out. And quickly, before I leave, I want to also agree with you that the diplomat or the ambassador, the current U.S. ambassador, his statements, nuanced, like you said, and they have people meaning. And also the Capitol saga, there was a representative from Colorado who was on Prime FM, and she did say that in order to remove it, since our democracy is model after the U.S., you need a vote of two-thirds to remove the speaker. Yes, there's a two-thirds resolution to sign, but there's a vote of two-thirds to remove the speaker. Any other thing, it means the speaker is not legally removed.
Oh, wow. You say a representative from the U.S.?
Yes, you were on Prime FM. I'm so Kelvin, if I call on that show, I think the Vida break, if I'm getting her name correct. Kelvin Hotel yesterday, so if you talk to Kelvin and I ask that question, say, since our democracy and our laws are model after the U.S., what does it take if in Congress or, because she's a representative from the Colorado state, if you want to remove your speaker in Colorado or at Congress, what does it require? She said, you need a vote of two-thirds after the resolution is tabled. You can call Kelvin Demi that interview. I'm sure it was recorded live on Facebook.
Okay.
So anything other than what has happened with Speaker Cooper, he has not been legally removed. He's still the speaker.
Okay, so that means Congress is also following this. Okay, thanks so kindly, Danishos. We can say more. Let me see if I can speak with Musa Kone. He was giving me updates on the Kalasco and others. Have you people made attempts to get a bill or what? I'm sure this government does not want the issues of political prisoners who will go express their views, protest, and they're sleeping in jail for days. I'm sure they don't want that. But let's speak with Musa. Musa, welcome.
Judah, how are you?
Yeah. What is the situation with Kalasco and others now? Are they still beyond bars?
I think they will sleep there tonight again, disappointingly.
Why?
I can confirm. Well, you want to say for political reason, you want to say the bond was not passed on time, but so many other factors. But what is more important is if you were thinking that Kalasco and the rest of the people in jail will come out, no, they're not going to come out today. Probably, hopefully, tomorrow.
Did you people make efforts to file the appropriate bond?
Yes, effort was made. Maybe if we say late, but yes, effort was made. The total bond should have been or is 5,500. And whatever the situation, Julius, because I don't want to talk much on it, but I know the money was not raised on time, and I can only confirm to you. In fact, I'm just leaving the foot. I'm still driving through, through Johnson Road, but I can confirm that Kalasco and the rest of the guys will sit in jail tonight again. That I can confirm to you.
Okay, thanks so kindly. Musa Kone right there. This person says there was also another fire in McCarthy West Legislative Information Service Office. I cannot record the year. I'm supposed to have McCarthy West's number. I'm supposed to have it. So we can speak with him. Yeah, on that. Yeah, please. I need to talk to this person before. Since he was mentioned, if you can remember the year, if that happened. Okay. Let's see who's here. Welcome. Let's hear you.
Good afternoon.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Julius. I'm George Watkins Jr. Yeah, Julius, you know, firstly, it's a sad day in our country, Julius. It's a very sad day in our country to see on a political basis that people will go and set the Capitol building on fire.
How you know that people set it on fire?
Julius, yesterday, the lawmaker and other people, Julius, if you follow the statement yesterday for some people at the protest ground, you will get to realize that someone is behind the building of the Capitol building. Yesterday, there was
What did they say?
Come again.
What did they say?
Yesterday, so they even threatening that, oh yes, they will bring the Capitol building in so much. They even went as far as saying that they will bring the president mansion. Yesterday, we followed
so
for district number 9.
And so who all you know burn it?
Come again.
Who all you know burn it?
Julius, we don't need a rocket scientist to tell us or to inform us that the burning of the Capitol building sedition and prime corporate of what happened today, Julius.
Okay, thanks so kindly. When the police call him now for evidence, he will just be there. You don't get so who the president, you not get anything to say. Mr. Ware was on the line, then he went off. We're just trying to verify something. Okay, welcome. Let's hear you.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Let's hear you.
Yeah. Princess calling for District 15.
Who? Princess who?
Princess calling for District 15.
Okay, go ahead.
Julius, I listen to you from before you read from the embassy. Julius, nobody denying anybody or protesting, but yesterday, if you saw the people yesterday, they created a violence yesterday. In a sense that the police paid the bridge and the police directed you where to pass, but you jumping over the thing. You jumping over the thing, and that's the way to protest. Yeah, if that's the way to protest, the police showing you where to go, you say no, you can't go by the police direction, you will go by your own rules. And that's the way to protest. So the way yesterday, the intention was to bring down the building yesterday. That was the intention. But since yesterday, they never got the chance, and so they had the chance after to go there and put the building on fire. Because yesterday, hello.
Hello.
Yes.
Take it easy now.
So
they were going there in a day, broad day, to go burn the building.
They were going there yesterday. That was the intention yesterday to do it, but because
I'm asking that you really believe that they were going there broad day in the eyes of everybody to go burn the building.
They were going there broad day to do it. Because somebody said it, so they were going there to do it yesterday, but because
okay, thanks so kindly. Let's take other people.
Welcome. Let's hear you.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead. Who am I speaking with?
All right, this is Sylvester Taylor, not Julius.
Yes, go ahead.
Let me say thank you for having me on the show. And let me first of all issue my dissatisfaction with